As a child, as far back as I can remember, my mother would claim I was Piaget whenever I did anything that she couldn't explain, or something that drove her crazy. She claimed I was cycling emotionally, going from one polarity to another, and it was always said in this somber, mysterious voice as though she'd answered all the secrets of the universe. Of course, my mother was bipolar, so I'm not sure she was the right person to talk to about psychological discovery and analysis, but it stuck with me all these years later. My name is Carolina, and I'm here to introduce you to one small facet of the life and career of Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget's impact was felt largely within the psychological community through and up to his death in 1980. He was a researcher, a philosopher, a teacher, and a psychologist. But most importantly, he was a watcher, an observer of human nature. His observations of the little things helped him obtain great insight into child and adolescent behavioral development. Piaget's contention was that children learn most of their knowledge in direct correlation to the environment that they existed within, meaning conceptually that if we grow up in a household where people read, we'll be more lingual, literate. If we grow up in a household where multiple languages are spoken, we'll be more lingual. That we become what we are around. According to the National Piaget Society, Piaget often referred to his subjects, which were mostly kids, as little thought bags, and he believed that they had a language all their own. He believed that this language was all tied up in a growth process that happened in stages. According to a Time biographical profile done in 1999, Piaget believed that we are all psychologically formed, for the most part, by early adolescence, and that each stage has a vital part in that formation. There's the birth to toddler age, where kids utilize touch, sensation, and movement. There's the toddler to 7-year-old stage, where kids attain use of their fine motor skills. There's the 7 to 11-year-old stage, where children begin to process and make sensible conclusions from what they process. Then there's the formative stage, that's after age 11 to early adolescence, where children learn to make abstract correlations and learn to differentiate between complex theories and ideas. Piaget believed that all these stages worked in tandem with our own experiences to create who we are, that we learn from our mistakes far more than we ever learn from our successes. That's certainly been true for me. I'm a far stronger and more aware person at 34 than I ever was as a kid. As a kid, I believed that the end of the world would come when I turned 34, and yet here I am, at least most of the time, when I'm not cycling. According to Faith Presnell's biographical accounts, Piaget believed that our intrinsic self, that's what we experience and relate to on the inside, is dependent in large part on our extrinsic environment. That's what happens around us. Meaning, you can have all the training in the world, partake of all the great works of the masters, but if you don't experience what you've read, you're not able to utilize it. To put it simply, we learn far more from falling off the horse than we do in getting on the horse to begin with. And that's certainly been true in my case, which is why I do not own a horse. Piaget studied people at their simplest stage of development as children, and he observed what worked best. He spent most of his life teaching that if we focus more on preventative, we'll have less work to do in the corrective. His premise was that if we study what helps us grow the best and we nurture that growth, we will in the end become stronger. Just remember the old adage, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Go ahead, get back on that horse just one more time.